This was, in 1969, the Shiretown Inn. I don't know what it is now, if it's still an inn or a private house. A lot of this property around here is rented out seasonally. It costs you at least $1,000 a day to stay in Edgartown, at least, at this time of year. But this was the place where Ted Kennedy came the night of the Chappaquiddick tragedy, and he swam across the Chappaquiddick, and he came back up here, and he came in here, checked in, he went back into his room with soaking wet clothes on, and the ferry's just, you know, down around the corner, down the street. Of course, the ferry stopped at midnight. He came in here, he came back 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, so he had to swim across the channel. And this was the place where he stayed. This was the Shiretown Inn. Let's take Mary Jo Kopechne, supposedly bring her here and
that's right.
bring her west. But instead he took her east
What I found with the
and plunged her into the ocean. Actually, it wasn't the ocean. It was actually a pond. But he came back here. He never. The big crime that Kennedy committed was he didn't report her death. You know, he made a decision not to report her death. I mean, the speculation was he was drunk, so he waited, he sobered up. We don't know. There's a lot of mysteries surrounding Chappaquiddick. I'm not really here to solve these little mysteries. We'll never know. When Ted died, pretty much all those mysteries went with him. But you know, he came back at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He actually swam across this channel, and it's a very strong current here. You can almost see the current ripping out there, but that's what he claimed. Well, his Oldsmobile was on the bottom of the water, 7 foot underwater, so he was out of the vehicle. So he swam and went back to the Shiretown Hotel, which is up in there somewhere. I'm gonna see if I can find the Shiretown Hotel. I'm not all that familiar with this is Edgartown. Ted came here to race his boat. Actually, it was his brother's boat, the Victoria. They were going to race the Victoria. They have an annual regatta here where they race on Nantucket Sound. And Ted came in 9th. That was pretty good. Hi, folks. This is the house here. It's known as the Lawrence House, Lawrence Cottage. And this was the place where Ted and Mary Jo Kopechne met up here. And Mary Jo Kopechne spent her final hours here before Ted rushed her in the car and took her down here, took her down the road. Went down the road right here. And brought her plunger into the ocean. Well, actually, plunged her into 7 foot of water. He ran off the Dyke Bridge. He managed to escape. She drowned. He was supposed to take her west, but he took her east toward the Atlantic Ocean, towards what they call the East Beach, down Dyke Road. He said he accidentally made a wrong turn. I don't know how you go from Blacktop Road to take a hard right on a dirt road, but actually he went straight and came to a complete stop. I'm going to take you down to the intersection, but you can walk from here to East Beach. It's probably about a 10-minute walk. It's very doable. And actually Ted Kennedy was here earlier in the day. Yeah, it turned out to be a massive tragedy for the Kennedys. He actually came out here to race the Victoria in a Nantucket boat race. That's what brought him out for the weekend. And there was Mary Jo Kopechne was part of what they call the Boiler Girls. They worked for Robert Kennedy. They worked for the presidential campaign of Robert Kennedy. I believe there were 6 of them. This was just a gathering point here. They actually Kennedy's cousin, his name was, I believe, Joe Gagin. I don't pronounce that right. Gargan, that's it. Joe Gargan rented a cabin for his family, but then the family didn't really. They got, because of sickness in his wife's side of the family, they didn't come. The kids and the wife didn't come. So they gathered here for a cookout. It was late at night. I don't know if there was much cooking done. And then Ted got up and rousted Mary Jo into pretty much out into the car. It was actually past midnight. It was 11:15. Fury stopped at midnight. But maybe figured he's the United States Senator, he could throw some weight around. But anyways, that probably wasn't his intention anyways. Like I say, he turned to the right. I'm going to take you down to the street corner and show you. You know, I think they deliberately wanted all this brush to grow up here because they don't want people to see this place. I'm sure they get a lot of visitors here. It used to be called the Lawrence Cottage. And right across the street, actually, if you go down the street there, well, you just see the driveway a little bit to the left there, that second driveway. That's the fire station. Chappaquiddick Fire Station. Actually, a lot of camps around. You don't see them because of the growth of the vegetation around here, but there's a lot of like little dirt driveways, and so more people living in this area, especially in the summertime. This was the cottage, and this is where Mary Jo spent her last few hours of her life before Ted killed her with his recklessness. But you know, if you know about my writings, you know about my videos, Rockefeller Center videos, you know I'm about how the Rockefellers murdered the Kennedys. Ted Kennedy, Chappaquiddick was all Ted Kennedy's. You know, pretty much he shot himself in the foot there, put it mildly. It was all his wrongdoings there. But Watergate, which was orchestrated by Nelson Rockefeller, its sole purpose was to destroy Ted Kennedy's presidential hopes. Because Rockefeller murdered John Kennedy, President Kennedy, then he murdered Senator Kennedy. See, Senator Kennedy had a good shot getting in their way. I say he had a very high probability because of becoming, if the people had their way. Like I say, if the people had their way, Bobby would have been president for sure. But then the Rockefeller, see, they can't let the truth get into the White House, because if the truth gets in the White House, the only one who could prosecute the Rockefellers is the President of the United States. Henry Kissinger was heavily involved with Nelson Rockefeller in orchestrating the assassination of President Kennedy. And so he could still go to the gallows for that. Should. There's other names too. People of interest, like Lester Crown. His father was definitely involved in it. He was Jack Ruby's handler. But anyways, so the Rockefellers couldn't let Ted get into the White House, so they orchestrated Watergate to destroy Ted Kennedy. But Ted kind of shot himself in the foot. Actually, E. Howard Hunt, the Watergate burglar guy, he was out here. He was looking for dirt on the Kennedys to destroy. So that's what they were doing. They were destroying the Kennedy. If you study all the president's men, Hunt took out every book out of the National Library on the on the Kennedys. They were determined to just keep these people from getting it. See, Nelson doesn't know what's going to happen. They can't predict the future. So they try to control the future. Rockefeller's only bet on a sure thing. So this was the place. This was the Lawrence cabin. I'm about maybe 300 yards down the road from the Lawrence cottage, which connects to the Chappaquiddick incident. He's going to pan the camera a little bit. It's just down the road there. So 300 yards. Well, Ted Kennedy, the night of the accident, when Mary Jo died, is the Chappaquiddick fire station. Now this is he walked right by this, Ted Kennedy did. He walked back after the car went in the water. He walked back to the Lawrence cabin. He walked right past this. Walked right past this. See what that is? That's an emergency alarm. Walked right past it. Now, how would you miss this? And he knew the area. All I had to do was hit that red button, and help would have came. Actually, I don't think that was the same electrical gear that was there back in '69, but it probably was something very similar. There it is right there. Chappaquiddick Fire Department. Ted Kennedy walked right by it. See, See, that was part of the tragedy of the whole incident. And, you know, he never went for help, and here's opportunity. I mean, this whole incident happened at 1 o'clock, post 1 o'clock in the, you know, it happened. But that was the whole tragedy. That was half the tragedy. He never went for help. And it just speaks volume on Ted Kennedy's character. And they believed Mary Jo survived in an air pocket for 20 minutes. And we're not too far from Chappaquiddick. We're not too far from the bridge. Maybe a 10-minute walk. And he also passed several houses that had night lights on. We're going to show you some more. As I said before, this is after the car went in the water, Ted walked back to the cottage. Supposedly he went to sleep in the back of a car that was parked there. I'm going to show you some more incidents. I'm here on the intersection here. This is really Chappaquiddick Road here. They call it the main highway. A little action today because this is the summertime. In the middle of August. So basically these are all people enjoying wide open spaces and sunshine and water. But this intersection here is where Ted Kennedy, I'm on Chappaquiddick Island, and this is the main road right here. A lot of sun out here. And there is filters here, but I'm not really that sophisticated of a cameraman. But this is the main road. So Ted, he was staying at the Lawrence, I say staying, they were gathering at the Lawrence cabin and down the road. I showed that in another video, the Lawrence cabin. And he pretty much rustled her out of the house into his car abruptly. You know, and then they actually came down this road. He said he made a wrong turn. Well, how do you make a wrong turn off of a main road into basically, well, sand? And you go rushing down a sand road and you put up a massive cloud of dust. You don't know you're off the main road. So he lied. But you know, I'm not really here about the little mysteries that Ted Kennedy took to the grave with him. I'm here about why the Rockefellers killed President Kennedy and Senator Robert Kennedy, and Watergate was all about Nelson Rockefeller ordered Watergate for the sole purpose of, like I say, he killed John, he murdered John, he murdered Robert. Now he had to murder. Well, he had to keep Ted. It's not a matter. It's who's in the White House. It's about who's in the White House. The only people who can bring the Rockefellers to justice is a president who works for the people, like Donald Trump. They couldn't sleep nights having somebody in the White House they couldn't have their thumb on, unlike Obama and Biden. But Ted came down this road. Now it's not a long walk. Now, you can probably walk to the beach in 10 minutes, but I'm going to turn it. What he did was he came speeding down here, and that's my Jeep. I rented that. There it is. Okay. Now that's a dirt road too. He actually went in there. He pulled in there and slammed his brakes. Came to a hard stop. How do we know this? Because of the testimony of Deputy Christopher Look. Because Christopher Look saw the car. He thought something was wrong. He saw a black car. And he saw a man driving the car. And he saw a woman sitting next to him in the car. Christopher Look thought he might be in problem. Whoever it was in problem. And then, how you doing, folks?
Good.
And then,
we're burning.
Burning?
Yeah.
No, we're here about the Kennedys, Chappaquiddick.
Oh my God, you're filming.
We're historians. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
I see.
Okay, there's just some people going by. I thought I was birding. No. I'm here about the Kennedys. But he pulled right in here. And how do we know this? Based on the testimony of Christopher Look, who's a deputy. he pulled up, he was about to get out of his car to see if these people were lost or something, and then they backed up abruptly, and he took a right. He went zooming down this road. Okay, now, but Ted knew this area. Ted was, earlier in the day, when Ted was at the Lawrence Cottage down the street here, where they were gathering, in the morning, he came here. His cousin, Joe Gargan, rented the cabin, and he was here. They went to the beach down here. We're going to take you to the beach. It takes you to the Atlantic Ocean. Takes you east. He was swimming there early in the day. He came back in the cabin, and I think he dried his clothes off, took a soak. Kennedy, John and Ted had back issues, so they used to take a soak. And they used to have their, their trusted confidants and aides run the bath for them. Joe Gargan was a lawyer, an attorney, but when the Kennedys called, he came running. Anyways, but you know, he said he made a wrong turn. Well, how do you make a hard right turn like that on a dirt road and say it's a wrong turn? So yeah, Ted lied a little bit. But the biggest crime about Chappaquiddick was he never reported the crime until like the following day. And the nation believed that, you know, he pretty much was drinking and he was intoxicated and he didn't want to get a DWI. So he took leaving the scene of an accident. I think he had his license suspended. But there was a grand jury investigation. And he was not charged. He was not indicted. He was supposed to go that way. He was supposed to go west to Chappie Ferry, which, by the way, stopped at midnight. So I don't know what he was doing. I think he primarily was interested in romancing Mary Jo Kopechne. Now, Mary Jo Kopechne was what they call the boiler. There were 6 boiler girls. They might have been getting set up for Ted to run for the White House. See, that's why Nelson Rockefeller, that's what Watergate was about. He wanted to destroy Ted Kennedy's presidential hopes. You know, you talk about Watergate, don't forget one thing. You talk about Woodward and Bernstein, 2 jackleg reporters, lackeys for the Rockefellers. Rockefellers are running the Washington Post. Through Eugene Meyer. Hi, how you doing? Friendly people around here. Eugene Meyer. His office was in 3 Rockefeller Plaza, right next to the Rockefellers at room 5600. Lazard. He was a managing partner of Lazard. And his daughter married, wow, man, I forget his name, but he was found shot to death. Lawrence Meyer's son-in-law was found shot to death. He was the one who blew the whistle and said Mary Pinchat was having a sexual relationship with the president. And she was found, she was shot to death twice through the head. You know, girls, if you meet a Kennedy male, take my advice, proceed with caution. And we can't forget about JFK Jr. He plunged 2 women into their death here too. We're off the shore here. Aquina, well, it's on the other side of the island. I might go out there and see there's a driftwood cross out there as a memorial. He plunged 2 women to their death. And Mary Pinchat was shot through the head. Florence Pritchett Smith, another one of JFK's romances, was found dead. Of course, you know, she was close with Mary Dorothy Kilgallen. They were both found dead within hours of each other. They were going to blow up in the Kennedy assassination story. And of course, Jackie Kennedy, it was a miracle she wasn't killed. I mean, she was right in the crossfire. And yeah, and Marilyn Monroe they found her dead. I don't know, I don't want to get into that mystery. Standing in this very pristine piece of the earth. Beautiful breeze here. Well, this breeze I think would be a little warm. But I'm here basically doing a video tour of the Chappaquiddick incident when Ted Kennedy brought Mary Jo Kopechne to her death. And most people know the story. They just made a movie about it recently. Here's the bridge. I said he made a wrong turn. I didn't make a wrong turn off a main highway into sand dunes. Yeah, I think he was looking for something besides. He was not taking her to the ferry. He was taking her somewhere different. But this is not the original bridge. The original bridge didn't even have guardrails. I'm going to show you. Ted Kennedy walked this road, say roughly 1 o'clock at night, and he passed this house here on the left. Well, you can see the mailbox. All right, he passed this, and this house, people were home, the light was on. There was a nightlight on the porch on. No, he never stopped. Just want to show you the kind of guy he was. Show you a little bit of his character. Yeah, this was the house. Right behind this house, there was a porch light on. Maybe people were even up. And then there's another house on the other side. I don't know if you can make it out, but there's a little sign there. Let me just see, but I don't know if you can see that. But that was the other house. To the right, just down maybe another 50 yards there. That lights were on. He walked by 2 houses with lights. Then he walked back to several houses with, and he walked back past the fire station. But yeah, this is what he come down, zooming down here with his Oldsmobile. I told you the story about Christopher Luck, Deputy Christopher Luck. See, he saw Ted Kennedy come zooming down here. He took a hard right to come down here, and he picked out 2 of the license plate numbers. One was a letter, one was a number. They matched up with Ted's car. Well, the next day when Luck saw the car, first thing he said, "That was the car I saw the night before." There's no reason to doubt his testimony. That's why we know it was 1:45. Because Christopher Luck was a man who was about doing his duty, and he had no reason to lie. I mean, he gave the truth. Ted Kennedy was not going to make this hill with his Oldsmobile. You know, I told you the funny thing too. I said that. The car went in the water at this end of the channel, not the other side where he came out. That's one of those little mysteries. But you know, Ted never explained how he got out of the vehicle. He says, "I just felt water coming and filling up, with my lungs filling up with water. I just pushed up and came up." He said the lights were still on in the car. I suppose he tried to dive to get Mary Jo out. But you see, he would have never made this. I mean, look how deep I'm in the sand here. I mean, I wasn't going to climb this hill, I guarantee you. You're going to need a Jeep Rubicon with some serious aggressive tires. I wanted to get a beach pass, but I didn't have time to get one. You got to have a beach pass to come up these with trucks. But look at this, is really pristine. It's a sand dune. Look how deep the sand is. I mean, this is deep stuff, folks. This is deep stuff. This is Jeep country. There's no doubt about it. But you know, Ted, like I say, he never explained how he got out of the car. But I think what happened was the car went a little on its side, and the driver's side window was open, and that's how he was able to come up. There was a theory broached that he was never in the car. Wow, this is really deep sand. I'm having a hard time walking. But I'm going to do it for you, just so you can see the Atlantic Ocean. Like I say, this camera I have now, you know, I'm not really a cameraman. I want to thank the Sony Corporation for installing a fully automatic button for dummies, camera dummies like myself. You just push the button and they see that. But well, it deals with the sun. You know, sun is the enemy of photography, but there is many filters on this camera, but I don't know how to use them. So I apologize for my ignorance of videography. But you know, the point is, you want to learn the truth. Sometimes you gotta, you know, do these things. We're coming up here in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, this would not have been fun at 1 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I mean, if I wanted to fill in the lines, yeah, Ted was drinking. Ted was abrupt. Ted was reckless. Ted had romance on his mind. See, the Boiler Girls worked for Robert Kennedy's presidential campaign. See, I tell you, you gotta have some serious reviews. See, they can come up here. You gotta have a permit though. You gotta have a beach permit. But I wanted to get one, but the Jeep I wanted to rent was taken. I couldn't get it. So, yeah, maybe next time. Whew, it's a climb because I'm in like 3 inches of sand here. This ain't Oldsmobile country, folks. This is not Oldsmobile country. It's Jeep country. But anyways, I could talk for a billion words. Historical background here. But yeah, see, Watergate, the Rockefellers tried to destroy Ted. I told you, E. Howard Hunt came out here. You know, one of the Watergate so-called burglars. Yeah, he came out looking for dirt on Ted Kennedy. But see, Ted Kennedy shot himself. This was all, Chappaquiddick was all Ted Kennedy's doings. In time. But Ted came out here and raced the Victoria. And he came in 9th. I thought that was pretty good. They have an annual regatta, Edgartown Regatta. This is it, folks, the Atlantic Ocean. Ted wasn't going to go far with his Oldsmobile. Plus he had pontoons on. Ted was not going to go far. I don't think he really wanted to go far. Geographically, anyways. He wanted to go, wanted to score. That's what he wanted to do. You know, Mary Jo Kopechne was an attractive woman. And, you know, this should have been a triumphant week for him. See, they got it all together. It should have been a triumphant week. The race, Ted did good. He came in 9th. And he came in 9th. The Boiler Girls were here, all 6 of them. Now, they were not staying on Chappaquiddick. They were staying over in like an inn over in Katama. Now, I mentioned Katama. We're going to go there later. We're going to go to the neighborhood. That's where Obama lives. Okay, that's this Martha's Vineyard. We're going to go there. See if we can see the tent. They just had a big birthday bash out here. Just turned 60. He was 2 years old. The Rockefellers killed the Kennedys. He's very much part of the Rockefellerocracy. Very much part of it. He's a Rockefeller hand puppet president. All except for 2 presidents. And you know what I'm referring to. President Donald Trump, who introduced democracy, gave the American people a choice, which the Rockefellers despise. You see, folks, when the people have the right to vote, the Rockefellers get power. That's what they'll do. They'll do anything in their power to smash democracy wherever it appears in the world. And also, no, this I think they call this the Nest or something like that. It's the East Beach, but it's all 10 miles long. That's why it's nice to have a Jeep. Then you can just drive all the way on. It's so scenic. And here's the mighty Atlantic Ocean. You keep swimming, you'll be in Africa. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna go see. Gonna go to Obama's neighborhood, uninvited. I understand Steven Spielberg was there, Tom Hanks, some other notables. But I was going to tell you, I met a local person here who was someone in the know. Right? He was born and raised there. And he told me one of his best friends was on the grand jury to indict Ted Kennedy, Chappaquiddick. And of course, Ted was acquitted. If you want to use the word acquitted, they chose not to indict him. And he was saying that after that verdict, his friend never worked a day in his life after that. Implying that the Kennedys paid him under the table. Bribed him under the table to quit. shouldn't even use the word acquit. I'm not a lawyer, but they didn't. They agreed not to indict. Yeah, this is it, folks. I think Chappaquiddick was what has hurt the Kennedys politically. You know, who's Joseph P. Kennedy III, you know, he ran for Senate here and lost. You know, they never had the political prominence, like, well, I'll say the three brothers. They never had achieved that. Never achieved it. And I think Chappaquiddick was what kind of was the nail in the coffin for their for real seriously high offices, because he not only killed us with recklessness, he failed to report it. Save his own neck. And he walked by several houses with lights